to new to try. I didn't even see you in this lobby, man. That's alright.
Yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's working.
New Yorkers deserve the best, and it doesn't get much better than Carvel, a New York flavor ice cream. Whether you need to pick up a fudgy delivery cake for Dad's birthday, or just want to treat yourself to a classic sundae, visit your local shop or order delivery to your door. With
Just
Carvel's
drove right
fancy
by you.
soft serve and take-home treats, you can turn any occasion into a Carvelibration.
Damn, why this car turn in so much? Holy shit.
Rolling. Oh, he didn't. Yeah, I enjoyed that bit, actually.
What's that? Shit.
I made one of them Fiestas before.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's one that cars are deleted, I might have to try it.
You wanted to come ramming to me, push me out of your way, then get past me just to loop around like that, buddy?
Yeah.
I wonder why US has so much fucking road rage.
Hey.
Roll back.
Hey.
Okay, it was on this night like 6 years ago. One of the fucking Jimmy John's delivery drivers got a fucking DUI while on a delivery.
Oh my god.
It lost her fucking license and got promoted to a manager.
Are you serious?
Oh, we give him shit for that all the time. Because she couldn't drive anymore. She was a good employee. She worked there forever. And so he just made her manager and made her stay in the store.
Fuck, I wouldn't even done that. She'd have been folding damn pizza boxes.
We could make fun of him for that every year.
A couple of months ago, I went to local pizza restaurant, and while I were waiting, I went round beside the counter and started doing that for him. Just spot laugh.
That chick's a fucking nurse now. She like totally fucking changed her life, dude.
Who's that?
Fucking that chick I was telling you about that got a deal and then became a manager.
Oh yeah.
Like she went on and fucking did nursing school and became a fucking nurse and got married and had a kid and she's like a really fucking different person. And I think him making her manager fucking probably had a lot to play in that, because if she would have lost her job altogether, who knows what would have happened to her life. it's weird how, like, when you look at the bigger picture.
God damn it. Wait, how big of a picture do we need, bro? God damn. Whoa, what was that? Oh lord. What is going on here? Whoa! Come on, save me, Jesus. Oh, this is bullshit.
What is that guy doing?
What guy are you talking about?
The one that just like slowed down, rammed into the wall right there next to you, and then backed out.
I have no idea. I'm watching YouTube. I think I drank a little too much. Started trying to follow people and start fucking them up.
Oh shit.
Chilling now. Chilling with the homies.
Oh god. Oh god. Yo, why is that water so wavy? Holy shit, what the hell? This should like about to eat me. Yo, that shit looks fucking crazy, bro. What is going on over there?
University, New York delivers a strong, values-oriented, and affordable education, so you're ready for an exciting career and an authentic authentic life. Attend our open house. to
Tommy
learn
Road?
more. St. Joseph's University, New York. Ready, set, Jones.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma.
Diabetes.
Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 becoming severe. So if you're in practice and test positive, there are things you can do. Ask your doctor if not an option.
Damn, someone actually remade Tommy Road here and it's pretty fire. I think
You
it's,
gonna get on Forza or what?
wait, what?
Jesus told you to get on Forza. You said the only person that can tell you to get on Forza is Jesus. Jesus told you to get
I
on
said,
Forza.
I said, the only thing, only person can tell me what to do is Jesus.
I'm saying, you gotta get on.
Jesus, you don't control me. What are you talking about? I'm losing steam already.
Should have followed me to Farley.
What'd you say, B?
Said he should have followed us to Forza.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to follow you. I fucking am.
Oh, sorry. Did you see the new trade rocket though? That's pretty cool.
The new what?
The new trade rocket. The
Oh,
North
yeah,
Sky where you
yeah.
can sell stuff from anywhere
Yeah,
and
but
then
what's-
it goes off the
the
rocket.
point? Right. What's the point of that with the whole new game system where you can just put your shit into whatever game mode you want?
I'm
You
just
know,
saying it's still like cool though to see that. Like,
Yeah, it's a cool concept.
there's something cool to play with.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is definitely some Gorilla Glue. Oh my god, this smells great actually. Oh my
Don't
god.
Don't put that shit in your hair, bro.
Bro. Oh god, I want some Gorilla Glue in my mouth. God damn.
And I want you to do that too.
You guys want to whiff? Here, smell. Smell. Smell.
Smells like God's vagina.
It smells like Jesus' vagina? What? That's
You never
it.
seen? You never seen Pineapple Express?
Yeah. It smells like God's vagina. Dude, God doesn't have a vagina.
No.
It's the 21st century, man. There's a lot of people with vaginas, apparently.
Right.
You're right. Jesus was
God could
black.
be a monkey for all we know.
And we was made in his image.
I'm streaming.
As a monkey.
No, but they really do think that Jesus was actually dark skinned. It's becoming more and more relevant.
Well, being coming from
Becoming
that side of the
more-
world, I'm sure
I think he
it's
was-
some
I
kind of
think he was
Indian.
Korean. I don't believe in him, so he could be whatever the fuck you want him to be.
I don't really believe in the God that they teach in per se, but I believe.
I don't
there's
believe a
something
God ever fucking exists.
I believe there's a higher something out there somewhere.
Is it really?
I believe.
I don't believe we're all judged by something higher, but I believe there is something out there, like some kind of creator, fucking something
I believe.
in the million fucking galaxies.
I believe God is everything, bro.
There's something out there somewhere.
I believe
It's
God
not
is
what they teach you
everywhere
it is.
at the same time. God isn't. God is like fucking. Dude, you ever realize like you be thinking about some shit and you have no knowledge of that subject at all, and all of a sudden you'll pull out the right answer out of your ass, bro. You know what I mean? Like, no, that never happens to you. I guess I'm just like fucking super.
I call those coincidences.
Nah, but bro, it'll be like someone asking a question, be like, yeah, dude, and you just do this, and then like I'll think about it and be like, I have no recollection of ever doing that in my life, and I'll literally Google it, and I'll be right. I don't know.
Well, the way I see it, given enough time, anything that can happen will happen. Has nothing to do with a higher power or miracle or anything like that.
No. I'm
the,
saying
the more people that are on the planet, the more coincidences like that can happen.
yeah,
the
but
amount
I'm
of
saying
times
it's happened over and over again, bro. The same
Oh, yeah.
situation.
No, it's the same thing with me, but I don't believe it has anything to do with fucking God power or any kind of like
I'm
just
the
random
same
ass
way.
miracle.
No, I'm saying
I
that
believe
that's
there's
that's
some
not
talk-
that's
talk to
coming
my
from
wife.
somewhere,
in the
dude.
sky.
I don't just pull that shit out of my ass. Like that's coming from somewhere.
Yeah, it's an IQ level. Take an IQ test.
Nah,
Your
I'm
IQ.
talking about
You
shit that
don't
I would have
understand
no
it,
idea.
fucking the
Bro, you're
human
talking about like
brain, dude.
gold or some shit, bro. I was on some
The
random
human
ass subject and
brain-
shit, bro.
The human brain, bro. Dude, there's like you could hear shit in your subconscious. Not even
Listen,
know
don't.
about
I said
Yeah.
my opinion. Don't get offended about my opinion. You ever see
Oh, I'm not
Futurama? You ever see Futurama, yo?
Mhm.
Remember when he goes to God and it's like God is like an all-knowing particle? That's what I feel. God is like something in the universe, bro. It's like almost like a star in the universe, is almost. I'm not saying that's literally what it is, but you know.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine that everybody. It's like I generally try not to dispute the fact that there is no God, but at the same time, for me, there is none. It doesn't exist.
Ready to find your
Well,
place in real
If you want my opinion,
I'm kind of the same way. I think something does exist, but I think you're being judged by your decisions. Like, it's not what they teach you.
St. Joseph's
Yeah,
University
I believe in God.
You believe in
well,
yourself? I hope you do, Jesus.
Yeah, I do.
and there's nothing wrong with that, so long as your morals are in line with.
See, that's what it is. Like, you look in the mirror, that's
Right.
fucking God. So you're like,
But there's more deaths in religion's name than anything else, and this is from
and wars
somebody who.
too.
It's all in fucking religion. There's more deaths in the name of religion than there is any wars by.
Well, when the entire world is dominated by people who believe in Satan, then yes, I could say that very much so.
Right. But there's also been studies too, like of atheists, right? And there's a big misconception about that too, about atheists believing in Satan. I don't. If I don't believe in a God, I damn sure don't believe in the devil or hell. But there's been studies showing that, and they took this study with children. They took a study with children who weren't raised to go to church, that would be considered atheists because they do not believe, right? There's no God in their family life or anything, and they took children in different religions, and what they found was the children that did not have a belief system like religion were actually more kindred spirited children, more forgiving, more playful, and more
I believe
outgoing
it.
and happier. And then they did the same study with children under different religions and found them to be more judgmental, more harsh. This is my
believe it,
toy. They didn't
100%.
share as much. So when you talk religion, you want to debate about whether there is or not, first start with the foundation, and children are the foundation when you look at it at that aspect, right? Because they don't know any better, so therefore they wind up being without being taught how to judge, right? You're in your religion, you're taught you're taught you shouldn't judge, but your subconscious judges
Oh, yeah.
all the fucking time.
So I just said everything that I needed to say, but I was stuck at words.
I think it's good to judge a book by its cover, to be honest.
Well, yeah, obviously that's, but that comes down to a primitive instinct, right? You see animals with this instinct. It's fight or flight. You can tell based off of just, and it doesn't matter if there's a God or not, or judgment or not, right? Judging in itself is something that humans do already, and it's based off your experiences. If you've had bad experiences with a certain race or a certain individual, and that's why, like, when you see politics and things like that, you see certain smiles on their faces, and your judgment determines whether you're going to be with that person or against that person, based off of
Could
just a look.
Your
But that has nothing to
experiences
do with
could
it.
also lead you to believe that there's no God when there could be one.
Well, so I was raised in a very abusive family. My father was a complete alcoholic, so my mother sent us to church on Sundays, and I was saved and baptized, and I went to church every Sunday up until I was 12, and it was every Sunday, and I did Bible study on Wednesdays and Fridays. However, the amount of time that I went there, none of it ever made sense to me at all.
Was you too
Same
young?
way.
Have you ever tried reading the Proverbs since then? And have you ever, you know what I mean?
I've read scriptures. I've read bits and pieces of the Bible. And to me, the Bible is nothing more than a man-made, written, fluid,
Control
ever-changing
device.
book. Right. So to me, God is to those who believe in Him as Santa is to children. Right. It's a good thing to have, so long as the morals are correct. Right. You shouldn't kill people. This, that, and the other. Right. Where children, you tell them Santa Claus isn't going to bring you gifts this year if you're bad and misbehave all the time. Right. So there's got to be some form of belief system. But, this all stems from way back in the day when, and there's still people today who ask why the fuck we're here. That's a question you shouldn't even ask. You're here. There is no, miracle as to why you're here. There is no, it's just, it happened. And, I don't believe in the whole reincarnation thing. I believe death. I believe it's the same thing that you can remember before you were born. Nothing.
So it's the same thing, I think. Just fucking game over. Lights go out. Nothing happens.
But, it's not that I want to debate your religion. What you want to believe, so long as you've got standard morals and, you're not out hurting anybody or causing grief onto anybody else. But what I find more fucked up about the religion too, especially Christian religion, like if you trace back all religions, they all sprung up from one religion. And then, it's like the transgender shit, the lesbians, the LGBTQ, you see it spring up from just one
that's
category.
completely different though.
Right. No, but
We're talking about
the structures. Right, but the
start
structure's
of
the same.
everything. No,
Right.
because
You're
this is
talking
just
about
like what I
we're
was
talking
saying
about the
before.
overall
These
control of the
satanic
fucking
people
population,
who believe in evil shit who are in control of the world, who are pushing this transgender bullshit, which is just leading us back to what you said before, goes back to history, to the original thing,
Yeah, but
which
you
is
gotta
like
look at the
Samaria
bigger
and Sodom and
picture.
Gomorrah and everything else, and the origins.
I'm not comparing LGBTQ to religion, but what I am comparing is the structure is how it started. It all
the
started
bigger
from
picture.
one pinpoint, right? So
Well, Vatican
you've
is
got
like
lesbians and
sorcery
gays.
and all the shit's all related to the same thing, and religion. As I
Right,
said,
right.
they're all part of secret societies. They're all part of satanic shit, and whether we
Right.
like to believe in God or not, they do, and the world's gonna
But-
be corrupted by them because they do. It doesn't matter if we believe it or not. You know what I mean?
But
We're along for the ride.
here's where I get a little bit frustrated with it, because isn't it a coincidence that you were born under the right God? Because every other individual that does not believe in your God is condemned to burn in hell.
But
And
it's again goes
hang on,
back to
hang
the
on,
same
hang
thing through diversity and the diversity of religions, and like you said, probably all been written by the Jews. I think we can all expect and understand that they're being written by people like the Jews and the people who came before, for the control that you're on about, which has come about through them. You know what I mean? I see it as all related. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it is all related, and it doesn't matter if you don't believe it or not. They do, and they are controlling what you're on about.
Right. It's all a thought process. It's all a control. That's
On
exactly
social
what it boils
media.
down to. Right. It
Yeah.
boils down to a control of your thoughts, because you're not in religion. You're not allowed to dispute any of that. So therefore, you cannot think that what is going on is wrong in any way, shape, or form. Because if you do, then you have condemned yourself to hell, and you must be forgiven in order to go to heaven. See, what I find fucked up too is some of the most kindred people that you see, like George Carlin. He's going to hell because he's never believed in God. However, you've got Charles Manson on the other hand, who has been forgiven and is going to heaven because he asked for forgiveness for all of his sins, right?
Yes.
So George Carlin, who's never injured or hurt an individual or killed or murdered anybody, is going and condemned to hell. But Charles Manson, who murdered, is forgiven for his sins and is now going to heaven. You see what I'm saying? And the list continues.
You've got to understand that all these constructs of what you've been given of God aren't necessarily. That's what I'm saying is that they're all corrupt, and to this day they are still changing things in the Bible and stuff every day. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And-
It's again, it goes back to that whole structure that I was telling you about before, where it was LGBT or LGB, lesbians, gays, bis. That's where it started, right? And there was a cohesive nature between the three groups, right? Now you've added genders, you've added fucking all different kinds of pronouns that has been corrupt and watered down all the way down to what it is today, where before it was at least a cohesive unit with morals that, you know, that obviously, you know, in my whole fucking belief system, I don't believe a guy should be with another guy or a girl should be with a girl. But, you know, I find myself watching a lot of lesbian porn anyways. However, there was no hate, right? Obviously, straight people or the more religious side of people hated that, right? And despised it and condemned them to burn in hell and whatever. But again, you're talking about the things that have been watered down and corrupt, and you see it today. The lesbians, gays, and bisexuals absolutely hate the transgenders.
Well, I feel sorry for the real trans people of the world before this, let's say, agenda started, because at the end of the day, they've been put with, like you say, the gender and the orientation has all been mixed up. That's why it's LGBT, which doesn't even make sense, because T shouldn't be even in there, because it's something completely different to orientation. Yeah,
Liberty,
right?
guns, beer, and Trump.
And now But anybody under the sun, under the trans umbrella, like the drag queens and everything else, everybody's under this trans umbrella now, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and that's where kind of like that's where I see religion today. It's all under the same umbrella, doing the same corrupt bullshit, right? Because I mean, even if you strip back all the way back to where it really started out, even then, it was just as corrupt because you were supposed to spread the message of Jesus Christ and save as many people as you could.
But they've
right?
just passed the torch
So-
on to the scientific community. They created science to relate everything to science and matter, which they can't do, and they'll give you a new religion through science that everybody's got to have faith to believe in all this nonsense and fantasy theorists of these scientists. And now all the atheists and everybody else who don't like the idea of God, because these people who were from the secret societies created this science, and now they've created Scientology to make science look good. You know what I mean? It's just all, even the science and everything. But like Ed Mystic and everybody knows throughout history, there's more to it than, you know what I mean? You can sense it as human beings can sense that there's more. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
But I do believe that how like science has brainwashed everybody to believe in the universe and everything, and as far as I can see, we haven't left the Earth, and they're still pushing this fact that we're going to move to Mars or wherever else and go out into space and stuff. And as I said overnight, I think they've passed the baton on to Elon Musk. As the new plan, because NASA's basically a joke nowadays, and now they need a new
Yeah.
private plan
Yeah,
to take it on, and it just keeps getting passed on.
It's what I said the other day about NASA's not getting the funding that it needs, so it's gotta pass the buck on to private companies, which is a good thing anyways. You know, we need more private companies to do that.
It's
More
like
private
Trump's-
companies we.
I just think it's funny that they can go to space in the 60s with no problem, but now they're
The
trying to
power
go
of
back and they've
the
already
perfect,
stabbed it 3 times.
Yeah.
Right, but I see it being more commercialized. I see it being, and that's why I agree that it should be passed on to private companies, right? Because, I mean, eventually that's going to happen, right? As long as we don't fucking nuke ourselves, which is quite a good possibility here as we speak. You know, it's quite a big possibility that can happen, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. How many of you guys right now believe that we're closer to nuclear war now than we've been since what 1960s, 62?
I don't think we're closer to any closer than what they want it to be in the dictated timeline of how they've so-called written what they want to happen, and we've still got evidence from 1800s of what their
It's all fucking
plan
population
is.
control.
Yeah,
So here's the question: do you think it's going to happen or not?
I believe it's
Eventually,
already
yes.
underway. It's all going. It has been for hundreds of years, but they do it that slowly and bit by bit. That
Oh, we're talking about
it-
nuclear.
don't matter. Yeah. I mean, that's what they want. Depopulate the planet. Bill Gates, everybody has said that they want to depopulate us all, and they got to depopulate us all somehow to
Well,
give
that'll
control
definitely
what they
fucking
want.
do it, won't it? That'll
Yeah.
definitely do it, won't it?
Yeah, and they're running out the Chinese economic scheme that you're all going to be under, the entire world, and they keep pushing, talking about it's just globalist agenda of this new world order they're bringing together.
Well, the New World
Oh, yeah.
Order's
You're just
already
going
been
along
in
with
place.
it.
The New
Well,
World
that's
Order's
that's
already
it.
been in
It
place
is
for
there.
100
China.
years.
Yeah, Russia and America playing a fake space race and fucking joining together at next minute. US using all Saturn rockets, even though they're supposed to be against each other, faking a Cold War. You know what I mean? It just never in. Just fear mongering bullshit. And they're all in it together. China, you can tell, has been brought.
Well, something will
under
happen.
it.
Something's gonna happen eventually. It's fucking inevitable.
Well, exactly. Anything that can't happen will happen given enough time.
It's just unfolding as we watch.
I mean, you can see the direction it's going. Look at any fucking news channel Look at any social media page, any, and you're going to see more hatred today than there's been over the past what 30 years. You go back 30 years, there was no hatred like this 30 years ago. I mean, there was, but it wasn't this in your face, right? Americans shooting children going down the street because they were mad about a road rage incident. You see this shit all over the fucking news. You got daycares being shot up in Thailand. You got fucking people being stabbed for no damn reason from somebody who wasn't a criminal. There's so much hatred in the fucking world now, and it's obviously it's the more you hear it, the more it inspires. And then we label things, you know, make movies of serial killers.
Yeah, the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing's getting out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's all fascination with him all of a sudden? Did it
Yeah,
crimes in
his
like
fucking-
80s?
It was
You
a
see they're
fucking
selling his
Netflix
glasses
thing
for
that came
some, like,
out.
$300,000
There's a whole fucking Netflix thing that came out. I haven't watched it, but
I trust
that's
Netflix.
supposedly what set it off. The Netflix thing came out, and they started doing like a documentary, and then everybody started making memes about it, and it's just gotten out of fucking hand.
and then you have the news, right? If you read the news, you're misinformed. If you don't read the news, you're uninformed. So, you know, it's just as much their responsibility to tell the truth as, but it's more so our responsibility to actually see the truth.
People don't want to hear the truth.
No, they don't want to hear it, and they don't want to see it. They want to be, you know, ignorance is bliss, and a lot of people live on Bliss Island, right?
Yeah.
You're ready to find your place and realize your potential.
And like, are you an atheist then? Would you call yourself so?
Classroom.
You know, I wouldn't even call myself an atheist,
Brooklyn and online. St. Joseph's University, New York.
and I say that because I'm not educated enough to know exactly what atheist really entails, right?
Well, I'm glad you say that, because that means that you understand that your position there. Well, I always see that atheists mostly, a lot of them are just sat on the fence, and like you say, they don't want to know, so I'm just going to call myself an atheist just because
Right.
I don't know anything, I don't look into it, I don't want to know. And if I do
Right.
read it, maybe they've read some things and still don't want to believe, you know what I mean?
Right. So I don't know what I would call. I do know that I do not believe in God or any kind of higher power, because to me that doesn't make sense. I don't fear death, and I haven't feared death in probably since I was in my 20s, because I've accepted it. That, you know, the only thing
Yeah.
you're guaranteed in life is death. But you know that scares a lot of people, right? So they need this belief system to then move on past that, as if it's a reset button on a video game. You get another life, you get another chance. There's a reincarnation or a heaven, or you know, and depending on how good or evil you've been through your entire life,
Yeah,
you're
but
going
that-
to one of these
That's
two
not
places.
hoping for an easy way out. That's not the same as
Right.
somebody who's
Right.
devoutly religious, you know.
So with that being said, every day I live my life is that much more precious to me because I live my life the way I want to live it.
Yeah.
And it's more precious because there is nothing after this.
Well, that's the whole problem with where a lot of the just got satanic school, and what they say, their motto is do as they will, and that's what there is nothing else. There's nothing going to come against it. So let's do all this stuff. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
But the experiment, like you said, that, like you don't believe in it at the moment, and I don't know how much research you've done into things and all this stuff that we were talking about.
Well,
But
I went to church. I went to church every Sunday from the time I was 9 up until I was about 14, maybe 15, because I did do a lot of. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun too. But
I don't mean the religious
lot-
stuff. I
a
mean
lot of it.
the world and history and how it's all connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I mean, for me, I was brought up same as you in church and thing, and when I loved science, you know what I mean, and because of science, I left school because of science, because I realised that they were trying to swap religion for fantasy theory and stuff. They're just bit switching experiments and diagrams in science, and the kids can't see past it, and I could. And I stood up in like assembly in front of hundreds of people and explained it all. And the teachers, nobody could rebuttal what I said. And it was like, well, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? At 14. And that made, and what I learned as a kid was because my granddad and I don't know if you believe it or not, but we've always seen everything, loads of shit, everything before it happens. And to me, I'd grown up with that, not understanding. All I know is that I'm seeing stuff before it's happened. It's like there's no free will, and that it's almost written to an extent. You know what I mean? Up to a few months, you know, however far ahead, things of whatever happened in fold and fabric and sort of form. That's how I hope it is.
Well, that's what
is.
makes people like Nostradamus look like some form of what's the fucking word? There's a word for it. Only because he's predicted the future in cryptic writings, right? That's the kind of stuff that makes him look exactly like that.
But that's it. They shouldn't have written cryptic like me. I had grown up. As soon as I looked that I could do it, as soon as I saw something, I said it out loud. I told people. So when it came about, it hit them like a ton of bricks. You know what I mean? And I've never been scared.
I would say the Bible has been fucking translated like 12 different times into different fucking languages. So.
Well, not only that, it's been picked through. Pages are missing. Pages are added.
Yeah.
You know.
They put whatever they want.
It's a man-made device.
His story, bro.
Yeah.
His story. Not his story.
Right.
But yes, science to me.
Agreed with you.
So
And because of what I'd experienced, you what? Sorry.
What science are we talking about? Are we talking about actual science, or are we talking about this new age pseudo bullshit science?
No, I just mean sciences in general. I understood science; it was my favorite subject. But as science is like we said, the science you do experiment stuff to find things out, stuff you can touch and handle and see. But as soon as the science is going on about theories that are impossible, they're just theories, just ideas in your head. And people go, oh, I like that idea, and then suddenly that means it's peer reviewed, and then they expect the entire world to believe, you know, to take on what they believe. It's the new religion, and if you don't believe what they're trying to make you believe, which is just an idea, and because someone like that idea, it's now peer reviewed, and then the people in the scientific mojo want people who's outside the scientific cult, as I call it, they want you to come inside and understand same words as what we all know from the dictionary, but take it on as a new form and then brainwash yourself into taking on these words so they have a new meaning. So theory doesn't mean what it's meant to mean to all the rest of us.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
so you're not talking science. You're talking theories. The theories
that
that
stuff,
are born
right?
within science, right? That are either proven or
which
disproven
isn't science.
over time,
Yes.
right? Like Einstein with the whole black hole theory, right?
Yeah.
In the science, for years in the science industry, it was called the giggle factor because apparently it didn't exist because they couldn't prove it, and then they did, and now it's no longer called the giggle factor, right? They proved black holes exist.
So if you want to
but-
believe all that,
Yeah, they've been trying
that's
to
what I mean.
prove
But-
black holes,
But
too.
that was a theory.
Nobody
So-
can ever tell me that those exist, you know what I mean? I can't ever experiment, we can't go there. And,
Okay.
and these people can, and they don't know. And
Okay, so
but yes, all that
let me
stuff
back-
made me leave. And
let me
the
back-
stuff that, the reasons that they change it, and why the bait swap things, and not just that, the normal base understanding of what things are and stuff. And the bait swap people to believe in science, and it was brought about anyway because the people who didn't like God, you know what I mean, they were all
Okay.
from secret societies, they're all Satanists pretty much.
Okay,
You
so
name it, they
let's-
was from them. Yeah.
Let's strip all of this back.
Yeah.
Let's strip out religion, LGBTQ, science. Let's strip back all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you this question:
Yeah.
do you believe the Earth is round or flat?
I don't know what the Earth is. I know that we haven't sent anything out into space. I know that what telling people and teaching people and what space is and the bullshit and why NASA isn't around and Elon Musk has taken over. I understand it all. I understand where you're coming from. And I don't know. All I know is that I believe in God exists. I believe that all the other religions of the world and everybody else has been diverted away. We're all splintered religions. And the best thing we could do, all those people who believe in God could just put aside all the differences between them and just accept and shake each other's hands and be happy with, and put your arms around them and just be happy that, you know, that we believe in God. And I think even the Bible itself is like Machiavellian God floating through the sky, pretending to be on the side of one person, and then floating along on his cloud to the other side and pretending to be on their side, you know what I mean? It's just, even I, who believe in God and stuff, there's fucked up shit in there, you know what I mean? It's not our God, it's not their God, it's, you know what I mean? Who playing both sides off to kill each other? It doesn't sound like a God to me, it doesn't sound like the God that we know of, you know what I mean? And yeah, I can understand that. I'll openly admit that the Bible and every other book like it has been dictated. I mean, Muhammad himself, all the Arab world follows Muhammad, who to me was a Jew. He was a pale as white snow cat with red hair.
So
it's like, why's the Arabs following him? You know,
you're 38 years old, yeah?
Yeah.
So your belief system, what religion? Christian?
Yeah, I was brought up in England, and like we were saying earlier, with does believe in God make the country a better place?
So
our country
by the
never
time
needed guns and stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
Until recently,
so
and people were.
how watered down do you think the information was that you believed by the time you actually started believing, right?
What you mean? What information?
Right. What information is leading you to believe the things that you believe, right? Evidence and what part of your religion has led you to believe the things that you believe now?
As I said, it's
And
not.
how-
It doesn't matter what I believe. It's what they believe. You know what I mean? It's all about
Well,
what
I've-
they believe.
so-
Mate. Do you fancy
so
eating
I've-
children and raping them and being friends with the Queen, whose royal bloodlines, and that Princess Diana and her sister had to intermingle once again their two bloodlines again to two paedophiles who had best friends who were paedophiles, and now one's King of Britain, and they're all illegitimate. And you know, I mean, all the families, Trump and that, they're all related. All the people over there are related to the same people that's fucking in power over here. And they're all pissing in the same pot together, and we're wondering what's wrong. And then you find out what they're into, and all this other stuff, and Hollywood, and all the people who's trying to program as kids and stuff. The reason why these kids around London are just being blackstabbing each other because of
Well,
immigration and the bullshit going on.
How do you control people?
How do you control people?
Yeah, how do you control people?
Through
You divide them.
diversity. Yeah,
You divide, right?
yeah. So let's diversify ourselves and make
Right.
it easier for them.
Right. You divide them, and then you cause fear, constantly,
Yeah,
and you control
Well,
it. You also
and-
teach them the things that they should be learning versus teaching them how to think for themselves. Right. Nowadays, there's you don't see that. Children aren't being taught to think for themselves.
no, they're not taught to think. That's what I was saying in school. I could see they're just saying this is what you're meant to believe in. You're not allowed to think about it. Those that think about it, you might as well leave school, because you can't go on with the rest of your life in school learning the bullshit, which then after school you want to try and filter out. It's just like, no, I'm going to keep my knowledge and my brain intact and fucking leave. I'm not going to learn bullshit just so that I can write it down on a paper. You know what I mean? So that I
Right.
can get a slightly better job than someone who's working at their petrol station when they've gone through college and through school and everything else, and they end up fucking delivering takeaways. You know what I mean?
Well, I've always been college and all that shit was generally a scam anyway. College and clearances, and, you know, it's all a great big fucking pyramid
Well,
scheme. It's a
university,
scam anyway.
you have to go along with the science and the indoctrination to put down on
Well,
a piece of
that's-
paper for
so-
them to allow
so-
you into the job that you want.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
So here's where science is good, because it true scientists will tell you to never go into anything believing or not believing that thing is there, right? That thing exists or does not exist. Science is to prove that thing either exists or does not exist. And if you go into it with a thought that it exists, you're going to find all the proof that you need to cherry pick it until you prove that it exists regardless of whether it exists. So that's a true scientist kind of outlook on it, right? They don't believe or disbelieve. They're just science is just their truth. However, we can go back to what science is today and pinpoint the structure of it just the same way that religion and LGBTQ is, right? It's little fucking groups that break off because disagreements, right? We don't believe that should be the way it is, but you know. However, that's, you know, and now you've got this pseudoscience thing that's telling you to believe that your sex and your gender are separate.
Yeah. And
there's
science
absolutely no
is what's
fucking
been
proof of
pushing
that.
this crap for 100. Yeah, but they've been
That's
doing
the
the same
pseudo,
thing
right?
with.
But that's
And until you
pseudoscience.
can see that it's not just the stuff that you've been listening to recently, it's pretty much all the stuff they've been teaching, you know what I mean? Like we was like, you'll cherry, it's like everybody wants to cherry pick and think the stuff that they've been doing before the last 10 years, something is all legitimate, you know what I mean? But now that
Right.
the science on COVID and everything, they can see the bullshit in that they can't see the science before it. When people like Dr. Langer and stuff were saying, putting up £100,000 to everybody who could prove to them that to the European Cup, that any 2 years later, you know what I mean? We've got Bill Gates and that doing TED Talks telling him what everybody wants to depopulate the planet. And then a few years later, we've got him offering, he's the medical expert of the world, offering his, now that his best friend who was a paedophile has been killed or something. You know what I mean?
So the question of whether the Earth is round or flat, you don't.
God damn it.
Right? 'Cause
I believe would
Okay,
have on
so-
a plane, like, God's plane, that's all I can say, is that I live wherever
Okay.
God's given the place
So
to
you were
be,
just-
you know.
you were just talking about COVID and all that. So I'll ask you this question: do you believe it was man-made, or no?
I believe, I'm inclined to believe that pretty much anything at the moment. If you told me that Prince Philip, who said he wanted to come back as a virus and depopulate the planet, was in the latest strain of the fucking vaccine, I'd believe you, mate, you know what I mean? I'd say that maybe it was, you know what I mean? So, I really don't know. All I know is that they're all weird fuckers, and that the king was best mates with Jimmy Savile and his brother were best mates with Jeffrey Epstein, and that's all I can tell you. I know what they're about and what they do and what they believe in, you know what I mean? So, I don't know what else to say apart from that, and the more shit that comes out over the years about how satanic these people are. It leads you a good idea to believe, well, if you know what I mean, if they're so evil, then maybe there is, you know what I mean. You've got something to it throughout in bullshit science and other religions, Scientology. I mean, what a religion to try and make science look good, you know what I mean? I mean, you can't make it up, can you? You know what I mean?
I mean,
that was
I
pushed
follow-
by Tom Cruise in Hollywood. You what? Sorry.
I follow evidence. You know, you gotta prove to me that something exists or not. You gotta prove to me that you gotta show me the evidence that it's there. I don't believe that the Earth is flat.
No, this is what the whole thing though. In life, it's like we were saying the other day, one of you have to learn your own mistakes through life. and you've got to understand and do your own research through life, and to experience it like yourself. Like I was thinking, have you ever given God a chance since you were younger? Have you actually given?
I did.
You know
I mean, you
what
gotta think about the mindset that a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old child is in at that point when his dad's beating the fuck out of his mom,
Yes.
you know, and him, you know. So you're grasping for something to believe in, and in that moment you would think that going to church, to have that belief system support you through it, you would think that a child in that aspect would have wound up believing.
What
I
if?
didn't.
What if? Have you ever thought, what if you what if you actually chose your parents, whether it was to try and help them or anything else? What
Well,
if you
that'd be
came
like-
here as someone to try and help them, that you chose your family sorrow? Because that's pretty much what I believe. And other people who are like me, who've experienced the same things as me and grown up like me, feel the same way. I believe that I pretty much chose my family. I feel like I came down and I knew what I was getting into. I knew I wouldn't have the life I was. I knew I wasn't going to be born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I believe I came down here. That's what I'm telling you. I believe I came down from above and went into my man and then born and everything else.
So what makes you believe that? Do you remember anything?
That's it. That's how I believe. I remember. That's what I remember. that's what I mean. I feel I remember. You know, it's strange. And not too long ago, about a month ago or something, I saw a video and I sent it to my man on YouTube about some other people, other kids, young kids.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty mind blowing
experience
things
it.
like that too.
And it was amazing to see other people, other kids with experience in it, whether it's good or not. You know what I mean? Imagine every major point in your life where something happened and give you a bit of adrenaline and like shocked you a bit. Imagine seeing every moment like that before it happens. So, imagine waking up like that and seeing something, and then before you went off to work or something, telling your daughter that the man at work were gonna revert struck into whatever, you know what I mean? Into a shop window or something. You know what I mean? And that
Right.
happens every day to people. I don't know.
I'd have to get
Some
this-
people think that they've been here before. Some people think that all this stuff, deja vu and everything. You know what I mean? It's like we've all been here before. I feel like as a kid, I didn't sleep much. I felt like when I'd go to bed and I'd just be laid there, and I'm like daydreaming all this shit, which later comes true. You know what I mean? Like literally fucking. Hey.
Do you think it would be the same? Do you think you'd be the same way had you been born in a tribe on an island without the influences that are around you today?
Well, that's it. I just see
You think-
myself as a modern day shaman. I live in the new world rather than you know what I mean, rather than a third nation or in a fucking jungle in the middle of nowhere. I've just been brought up in a different environment to the people who were brought up as shamans or the oracle or anything else. You know what I mean? And people always had people. There were always people like me around, and you know what I mean. So the reason why Nostradamus and that they couldn't fucking come out and straight say it, whereas I today I grew up and I just came out, I just come out with it. You know what I mean? and I'll just tell people
Well,
why
cryptic
write
writing-
it down? Why write it
writing-
down and then yeah? Go ahead. Sorry.
Cryptic writing is no different than reading a fucking horoscope, right? It's
Yeah,
catered to your lifestyle. It's catered to your questions at the time. The amount of horoscopes that I've read every time, I scratch my head and go,
Attend our
fucking
open
hell.
house to learn more.
That seems
St. Joseph's University, New York.
that seems about
Ready,
like
set,
where I'm at. But when you actually dive into it, none of it, it's all fucking garbled up bullshit, right? It's no
Yeah.
different than cryptic writing. I can tell you
Yeah.
right now that, you know, within the next couple of weeks, you might get $30, right? And that's only because that's not a prediction, right? That's based off of the fact that everybody gets money at some point in time in their life. Right?
Yeah.
That's not a prediction. That's a
Sean Khalifa, man. Planes, Mr. Spacely, whatever you want to call me, man. Taylor Gang or die. This project.
I can't even fucking think about. I can't even think of the word for it right now. It's pattern recognition is what it is, and that's exactly what an IQ test is. It's all pattern recognition. The amount of patterns that happen in your life, you can stretch them out and recognize what's going to happen next based off of previous experiences.
What's at point in sitting at the back of a barbecue and we're sat around with some chairs. Mate goes into the kitchen. I says when he comes out, he's gonna drop something. He's gonna bounce off those two steps there, and it's gonna land in that wooden wicker basket. And then he walks inside, comes out. He's not heard me saying this, you know. I mean, comes out with like a fruit basket or something. Orange slips off at top, bounce, bounce, bounce. You know, he didn't even say we're going in to get a basket of fruit. You know what I mean? And we sat outside and say something like that, and then it happens. You know what I mean?
Well, I could pull my wife into the party at some point, and she could tell you the amount of predictions that I've made just over the last 5 years. You know, to her, it's all predictions. To me, I'm not predicting shit. I'm just using pattern recognition.
Oh yeah, of course we can all do that. You know what I mean? But
But to
people
somebody who
see shit,
doesn't
that's all I
understand
can
it,
say.
right? To people who don't understand it, it looks like a prediction. And that's exactly what Nostradamus does. It's exactly what any kind of psychic will do. It's what any kind of...
You don't believe in any ESP?
No, I don't.
Like Randy.
You're talking... Well, what are you talking with? Yes.
Pardon?
You're talking...
I just mean, do you know that the US government, the Russians and everybody else, the Chinese,
they've all done it.
They've all use psychics. So we're not allowed to believe that they're real. Oh yeah, it does work.
The amount of failed fucking tests. Well, dig in deeper. And a lot of fucking...
There's enough stuff written and the people understand that there will be, that people see stuff before it happens and stuff, and have other extrasensory perception.
No, I think it just boils down to pattern recognition. And
Even Japanese, they went in for it.
If that's the case, then why aren't more people doing it? Why aren't more people using it? If it's possible, then why can't you read my mind? Why wouldn't we all be able to tap into each other's mind and be a more peaceful? Why can't it be a more peaceful world? I mean, you'd think if we were all hive-minded in a way, and ESP was a thing.
But we're not hive-minded. We're not working as one. We're not waving. We're not even on the same wavelengths. The amount of people who've actually experienced telepathy at raves and stuff, where everyone's fucked out of their head and they're actually having conversations and stuff and talk about shit. People never met or anything, and then they'll fucking other people won't believe it, and then we're talking to each other. You know what I mean? People experience stuff and on things like hallucinogens and stuff, and they're not all so-called illusions, you know what I mean, of what the things that they see and stuff on these drugs, like the shamans and shit. They're not just twisted out of the mind, just making up shit, you know what I mean?
I believe a lot of it has to do with the experiences they've had in their lives and the intelligence that they have. The more intelligent people, I believe, are going to have more intelligent experiences. Something more cohesive, where somebody who's not so intelligent is just gonna fucking hallucinate and see dumb shit, right?
Smokey, your screen's black, just so you know.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to fix it.
Have you ever taken hallucinogens?
No. No, the closest I ever got been fucking smoking pot.
Yeah.
And I quit doing that nearly 23 years ago.
Yeah.
The reason why I never took hallucinogens of any sort is because when I learned about acid and how it settles in your spine, my plan as a child was to go into the Navy or Air Force